Welcome back. Welcome to video number 2. I wanted to go over my solar setup, all of my electrical things. So I actually just got it all cleaned up because it was a complete disaster. I'll show a picture of like before and after maybe, but so I wanted to just kind of like go over everything, how I did it, and yeah, share all the different parts, and maybe it'll help somebody who's trying to do their own. I did this pretty much all by myself. I had a professional electrician help me with like wiring the outlets and understanding wire sizes and fuse sizes and all that good stuff. But really just wanted to go over the size of my different components and yeah, all the things. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's just start with the first components, being the solar panels, which are actually on the roof. I have 525 watts. They are 3 175 watt monocrystalline panels. There are 2 types of solar panels that Renogy offers. Polycrystalline, I believe, and monocrystalline. Monocrystalline is just supposed to be able to absorb more sunlight and gather more energy from the sun at once than the other type, is how I understood it. So I then have them wired into my 40 amp MPPT charge controller. The charge controller basically controls where the power is going. So it's collected from the solar panels, it's ran down into here, and then from here it tells it where to go. So then I have 2 100 amp hour 12 volt lithium batteries. So these are really good batteries and I should have no problem with them, hopefully. And then I've got the 2000 pure sine wave inverter charger combo. So I have it connected to my shore power inlet, which is a 30 amp inlet, ran in and then ran out. From there it goes into our power bank, or power distribution center, I think is what we call it. So I've got all of my breakers here. This 40 amp breaker is the one that controls that shore power inlet, and then the rest of these are all for my outlets. I do have 6 outlets in the van. I have them combined from this wall. It wasn't long enough, so if anybody has any questions on how to do that, happy to show how I did that. And then they're all just ran in here to the breakers. My lights for the ceiling, and then I've also installed 2 exterior lights that I'm going to be running wires. I'm also going to install one on this door, on the outside of this door, and all 3, well, I already have the one switch for in here, but those 2 outdoor lights will be on switches right there also, so those will have fuses. So yeah, power distribution center, charge controller, batteries, inverter charger combo, bus bars, ANL fuses, and my kill switch. So the kill switch is crucial to be able to turn the entire system off if and when it's not being used. Bus bars are obviously crucial because they control the connection of all the different parts. So yeah, the wiring and fuses and how to set everything up, and how everything goes together. So we're going to start with the solar panels, and those come with wiring already, so I can't really tell you what the sizes are. It depends on what size setup you have. So just refer to that. There is a small fuse that you have to have from Renogy to be able to connect all of your solar panels together before you run them in. And then from there, it runs straight in and goes straight to the charge controller. And that's the same for the negative and positive. Okay, and then from there we'll go to the batteries. And the batteries, because I have two, they have to be done like opposites. So it's going to be connecting to the bus bar and the charge controller and the kill switch and both of these fuses. So we'll start with positive. So we'll do from this one to this one first, and then from this one to the 50 amp, and then to the charge controller. So the 50 amp is to protect the charge controller if anything were to happen with the batteries. It protects the charge controller. And then because we already have a second connection on this battery, we're going to do the second connection from this battery down to the kill switch, and then from the kill switch to the 250 amp ANL fuse, and then from the ANL fuse to the positive bus bar. Okay, and all of the battery connections are 2-aught wire. So that's all battery connections. Okay, and then for the negative, all fuses go on the positive wiring, so there won't be any fuses. But there is, so the first connection, and it's opposite as of the positive. So our first connection was from this one to this one. So our first connection will be from this side to this side. And then from this one to the charge controller. Okay, and then because this has the second break, we'll go from this side to the negative bus bar. Okay, and then we also have the grounding wire. So there's like a little ground symbol, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. So I'm just gonna put GR, which, whatever. And then that will go to the bus bar. Okay, so we have our solar panels to the charge controller, batteries to the bus bars and the charge controller. Next, let's go down to our inverter and then our 30 amp shore power inlet. So the negative is also 2-aught. Sorry, forget to do that. Okay, so this, I'm going to use just a regular pen because this is actually a 10 gauge wire. So there's no positive and negatives. It's all one set of wire. So this is going into our inverter straight from the inlet. And again, this is 10 gauge. And then from there, it goes straight from the inverter into the power distribution center, where it is connected to the 40 amp breaker. Okay, and then this is also 10 gauge. Okay, and then the inverter goes, well, I guess I'm going to do negative first. The inverter goes over to the negative bus bar. And the positive goes to the 200 amp A&L fuse, and then over to the positive bus bar. Okay, so this is always going to be like one less decimal, whatever you call it, you know. This is a 2000 watt, so it's going to have a 200 amp fuse. And this is all on 2-aught wire. Okay, and then let's see, what do we have next? The power distribution is a good one. We'll do that one. So that one will have a positive coming out to the 100 amp A&L fuse, and then going from that fuse to the positive bus bar. And then we'll have negative going to the negative bus bar. Okay, and those are 6 gauge wire. Okay. And then I have 6 outlets. Not that I need to show all 6 here, but I think I've got 2 on one side of the van and 3 on the other. So I have the 40 amp breaker here, and then I also have 4 double breakers, 20 amp breakers. So all of the outlets are wired in to here. And then I also have my fuses for my lights, and my fan, and those are wired in to the fuses here. Okay, so that is pretty much it. So lots of wires, lots of different components. It took me like a year to figure out how to do this. And knowing the size of the fuses, I still didn't like learn that. I had to have somebody teach me how to do that, or I called Renogy. So again, I did do all this myself, so I am not a professional. Please do not only watch this video, you know, definitely do your due diligence and find other opinions and ideas as well. But I'm happy to help if possible, answer any questions or anything like that. I think the hardest part of it was understanding the wiring sizes and the fuse sizes. And what I would suggest is if you plan on doing this by yourself, if you buy all of your products from one company, you can call them and let them know and like talk through it with them and ask them like, hey, what size wiring do you suggest to go from the batteries to the inverter? That was like one of my issues. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out what size fuses I needed. So some of those types of things that were just a little bit difficult. So it's totally possible. It's totally possible. I'll show the video of when I got my lights to come on for the first time. I had tears. It was awesome. It's the most fulfilling feeling ever, actually teaching myself how to do something and figuring out and buying all the things, putting it all together and taking the time. So if you want to do it, do it. You can do it. Don't think that you can't just because you don't have any experience in it or you don't have anyone to help you. There are so many people that are willing to help if you just ask. And I don't mean like physically coming to do it for you, because I don't know that people are going to do that, but people will walk through it with you and help you understand it. And yeah, so that's my solar system. Solar system, that's so funny. That's my solar power setup. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I hope you enjoyed my second video.